In another video of the Sovereign Renaissance, we delve into the dark arts of demonology and the world of demons. We explore the architects of the astral hunt, the looting of the life force. In the velvet silence between the last waking breath and the first deep dive of rapid eye movement, a boundary dissolves. It is here, in the thin places of the psyche, where the ancient dynamic of the incubus and succubus thrives, not merely as horned demons of medieval lore, but as the ultimate architects of energetic theft. This is more than a ghost story. It is an exploration of the predatory bridge between the physical and the ethereal, whether viewed as an archival glitch in human sleep cycles or a calculated extraction of loosh by interdimensional parasites. The dynamic remains the same, a haunting high stakes exchange where the currency is your very life force, and the contract is signed in the dark. The mechanics of incubus succubus dynamic operate on the principle of energetic predation. Unlike traditional ghosts that may simply haunt a location, these dynamics are characterized by a direct, invasive link between the entity and the host's life force. In metaphysical study, this is often viewed as a form of spiritual parasitism that targets the most potent energy humans produce, the creative and vital essence. The concept of the incubus and succubus has evolved significantly, moving from literal medieval demons to complex metaphors in psychology, literature, and modern metaphysics. At its core, the dynamics explore the intersection of vitality, desire, and the subconscious. Historical and mythological origins. Historically, these entities were used to explain the phenomena that science hadn't yet categorized. The succubus, a female presenting spirit said to visit men in their sleep to collect essence. The incubus, a male counterpart, derived from the Latin word incubo, meaning to lie upon, believed to exert pressure on the dreamer's chest. The bridge, in folklore, they were often viewed as the same entity shifting forms, presenting a closed loop of energy transfer between the physical and the ethereal. The energetic and metaphysical lens. In esoteric circles, the dynamic is often stripped of its demonic skin and viewed as a study of energetic parasitism or loosh extraction. The feed. The relationship is inherently predatory rather than symbiotic. It suggests a process where one entity thrives on the intense emotional or vital output, in this case, fear, lust, or exhaustion of another. The astral interface. This interaction is said to occur in a hypogogic state, the borderline between waking and sleeping, where the human psyche is most vulnerable and the veil is thinnest. Psychological interpretations. Modern psychology, particularly the Jungian analysis, views these figures as manifestations of the shadow or the anima or animus. Sleep paralysis. Science attributes many historical attacks to sleep paralysis and hypnagogic hallucinations, where the brain is awake but the body remains chemically locked in rapid eye movement sleep. Suppressed desires. These entities often represent the taboo. They are the personification of desires or fears that the conscious mind refuses to acknowledge during the day, manifesting as a dominant or intrusive external force at night. Modern symbolic dynamics. Today, the incubus succubus label is frequently used as a metaphor for unbalanced relationships in the waking world. The energy vampire, a person who leaves others feeling spiritually or emotionally depleted after an interaction. The obsession loop, a dynamic where one person becomes an entity in another's mind, an intrusive thought, or a fixation that drains their focus and productivity. The entry point, the hypnagogic gateway. The mechanic of the attack usually occurs during the hypnagogic state, or the falling asleep, or the hypnopompic state, the waking up. Frequency matching. These entities function on a low astral vibration. They seek out individuals whose frequency has been lowered by extreme stress, exhaustion, or unresolved trauma. The breach. Once a residence is found, the entity tethers itself to the victim's energetic field, typically entering through the lower chakras, which govern survival and instinct. The siphoning process, or the feed. The core mechanic is not the act itself, but the emotional and physiological reaction it triggers, adrenaline and cortisol. The entity often intentionally induces terror or intense desire. These high intensity states release massive amounts of bioelectric energy. Energy transference. The entity acts as a sink, drawing the spilled energy out of the victim's aura. This is why victims often wake up feeling more exhausted than when they went to sleep, reporting a heavy or hollow sensation in the solar plexus. The feedback loop. By returning repeatedly, the entity creates a groove in the victim's psyche, making it easier to trigger the same response each time. The glamour mechanic. To bypass the victim's natural spiritual defenses, these entities utilize glamour, a form of psychic camouflage. Shapeshifting. They may appear as an idealized partner, a celebrity, or even a trusted acquaintance. The illusion of consent. By manipulating the victim's dreams, the entity seeks to gain a subconscious yes. In many occult traditions, this perceived consent acts as a legalistic contract in the spiritual realm, making the entity much harder to evict. Institutional and cult dynamics. In more complex spiritual structures, such as those involving narcissistic leaders or controlling groups, this dynamic can manifest through proxies. Energy vampirism. A leader may unconsciously or consciously act as an incubus figure, siphoning the devotion and vital energy of their followers to bolster their own charismatic shine. Aggregories. In some cases, the entity isn't a single being, but a collective thought form, an egregore created by the group's shared suppressed desires and fears, which then feeds back on the individuals within that group. Signs of energetic siphoning. Chronic lethargy. This is waking up exhausted despite a full night's sleep. The weight. A physical sensation of pressure on the chest or back during sleep. Sudden apathy. A loss of interest in real world relationships or creative pursuits. Atmospheric cold. A localized drop in temperature or feeling of being watched in the bedroom. Mechanical defenses. Breaking the dynamic requires reclaiming sovereignty. This involves closing the energetic leaks through grounding, rigorous boundary setting, and clearing the physical environment of objects that may act as anchors for the entity. Ultimately, the mystery of the incubus and succubus remains the ultimate test for the human soul. Whether these entities are ancient interdimensional predators harvesting loosh, or merely the psyche's own shadows rising to claim their due, the dynamic reveals a chilling truth. Our vitality is a coveted currency. As the sun sets and the boundary between the physical and the ethereal thins, we are forced to confront the vulnerability of the liminal self. The true horror, or perhaps the true empowerment, lies in realizing that every contract with the dark is fueled by the light of our own life force. When the lights go out, the question is no longer whether they exist, but rather, is your sovereignty strong enough to hold the door shut, or have you already invited them in? And if you liked today's video, please do like, share, and subscribe. And thank you to everybody that has liked and shared and subscribed on our channel. And until next time, goodbye.